Welcome back to the WMMA Today podcast with Drake Riggs and Steve, also known as Fluffy. And I call Drake Riggs Muppet.
This is new to me.
Uh, well, it, it's on my phone.
Oh, okay. Good to know. For in my phone, you're Stephen King,
Can
and
you
then
see
in
it?
parentheses, it's imposter.
Can you see it?
Oh, yep, I do see it. All right, great. Good way to start.
Do you remember why I called you Muppet? Why I call you Muppet on my phone? Because you got
No,
called
I.
Muppet. Some dude called
Oh,
you a
that's
Muppet.
right. That's right. I didn't know you changed. I do remember that though. The guy who got mad at my scorecard for which fight was
Mhm.
it? I don't
I don't
remember, but
remember.
he was
He
so
was
mad
pissed.
about it.
He was so fucking pissed at you. And then he called you a Muppet.
Yeah, great, good times. Oh, it was Pena versus Frivola, I think. I think that's what it was. It's like I wasn't the only one
Um,
who scored it for Frivola. Come on, whatever. It was funny. And then that guy called me like a pedophile. So thought I looked like a pedophile. Like it just snowballed.
oh man,
But
lucky I
that's
don't
not
have
why we're here.
pedo as your name.
Yeah, that's that's a lot worse. No
All
bueno.
right, so we have a lot to talk about. We have a UFC Vegas 4 recap. We have some Twitter questions. We have news with some fights. We have Invicta 41. We have a few UFC fights. And then we have an Invicta card to talk about that's happening on Thursday. Let's start off with the UFC Vegas 4 recap. There was only one women's fight, but it was a good one. Kay Hansen uh, just took it to Jinyu Frey. Um, she pretty much did what I said that she would do. Um, she ended up winning in the third round by a triangle armbar. Is that what it was? It was a
That
triangle,
was
and
just
then
an armbar.
it went to an armbar. Um, at any rate, it was a fun fight. Um, as you can see in the picture, Kay actually got a little bit bloody. Uh,
Right before that.
right before she took it to the ground and fucking put Frey in the armbar. It was a good fight though.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a very good fight. And that cut was pretty gnarly. Like after you
Mm-hmm.
saw it, after the fact, it's like, oh damn, I wonder, if I would have survived and got it back on the feet, like what the doctors might have thought of that. It didn't seem like it was bleeding too badly, but you never
Well,
know. You
look at that
never know.
picture. It's a pretty big cut, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, like not free flowing, just a lot. But no, it was definitely a long cut and everything. Very, very interesting fight. Going into this card, this was, the second most intriguing fight for me behind the main event, of course.
Yeah.
And man, it really played out kind of how we did think it would, with both fighters having success in their areas where they were better than the other person. And, the most interesting thing to me seeing it play out was I didn't think that really had a size advantage like we thought she would. I thought that Jin maybe looked, if
She looked
anything, a
bigger.
tiny bit
Yeah.
bigger than her. She
Right.
was looking cozy at strawweight. Let's put it that way. She was jacked, man. And in that first round, did very well. Was on point. Looked great. Won that first round. I think everybody agrees with that. I mean, the judges, if you saw the scorecards afterwards, they did give her the first round as well. Just outstruck her. Was really sharp on the feet and even defended things early on in the grappling. But then the second round, just ended up getting, tripped up at a point, and that was the second round pretty much. K's round dominant on the ground. Third round was, a little bit more even. We knew what they each needed to do to win. Coming down to the line there, and Jin was defending well. Had that whizzer, but then K just like a fucking genius. Whipped the leg over to go for an armbar, something you don't see too often, but that is something we've seen from her before. In not a super similar situation in that fight with Sharon Jacobson, where she got that Hail Mary comeback submission, one of the best comebacks you'll ever see. Kind of similar, just in the way that how she whipped herself around Jacobson and then Frey in the same sense. It wasn't set up necessarily the same, but it finished the same. You know what I mean? So yeah, that just kind of shows you how good her killer instinct is, and I guess with arm bars specifically. And yeah, a massive win for her over someone with the experience and championship abilities that Jin Yu Fry has, whether at atom weight or not. A very very big win. I'm not sure though if it proves to me that she's ready for UFC yet. I don't know. It was a good win, obviously, but we saw her in trouble in the beginning. Adapted well, did what she needed to do, but I don't know. I'm not sold yet. I really hope that they do not throw her fucking just up the ladder way too quickly, especially at straw weight. Like, come on, you do not need to do that.
Yeah, I think that they need to take their time with Kay Hansen. I mean, obviously
20.
Yeah, we think that she's as good of a prospect as there is out there, in women's MMA. But she's very young, crazy young, 20 years old. I mean, that's fucking young, guys. If she were to get a title fight within the next year or whatever and win, she would be the youngest champion in the UFC. That's something that Macy Barber was trying to get. She's always said that, but Kay Hansen, she might get there first.
Doesn't matter though. You know who beat them all. Who's
that, Ronda?
Angela Lee is the real youngest champion. Did you say Magana?
No, Ronda.
Oh, no, Angela Lee, when she was 19, right? When she won the one championship. Yeah. MMA overall, obviously not UFC, but
right. That's why I was like,
no one's beating Angela Lee's.
Right.
in overall MMA, yeah. But we'll see. Either way, though, I really don't know who to give Kay next. Like, I have no idea. I'd have to really look at things, and I'm really excited to see Jin against somebody. Again, it sucks to see her lose that way, get finished, and that debut that we've been waiting so long for. And when she did look good early,
for so long, man.
Yeah,
she's been waiting for so long.
So definitely a big bummer.
And to get finished that way in the last couple of minutes of the fight, that she was doing pretty well. And I mean, they were going toe to toe. It wasn't one-sided for Hansen. It wasn't one-sided for Frey until the armbar, but it was pretty even.
Yeah, like in their areas of expertise, they were winning where they were best at in each of their skill sets. So yeah, it was a good one, and just an interesting build up to this, and then the aftermath is going to be something as well. But yeah, big win for Kay Hansen. That's you can't say anything aside from that.
Huge win. Congratulations, youngin.
Yeah, can't even drink yet.
Yeah,
legally.
Still gets her first UFC win.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Okay, so Twitter questions. We have Twitter questions from. We will start off with one from our buddy who did our logo, our new logo of Amanda Nunes, from Dave Fretz. Do you
Shout out to Dave.
Think women's MMA spread too many promotions too soon at the promotional level? There seems to be such a disparage between the elite and the rest. Will the current landscape allow for the gap to close? I wonder if MMA is being promoted to a female audience in ways that make sense to coming generations in order to really get them involved. Then there's the matter of pay. We know it's tough for men and usually more difficult for women. On average, is the pay in the sport equatable from men to women athletes? Yes, Dave, that was a lot. That was like 3 or 4 questions, and we can start from
Yes.
the beginning.
Yeah, let's break it down piece by piece here.
Yes. Okay. So
Appreciate it though, man. Very much.
100%. We appreciate it. Um, do you think that women's MMA has been spread to too many promotions? What do you
Okay,
think?
so this is kind of an interesting piece of this whole thing here. And Dave, if you are watching, feel free to maybe explain a little bit more if I'm getting it wrong here. So, as I read this, I was thinking, has it spread to too many promotions too soon at the professional level? Now, if you're talking about in the beginning, like when it all started out, I would say yes, but it kind of had no other option, right? When the female fighters were starting to fight, it was such a kind of a gray area, right? And nobody was really accepting them at 100%. It was kind of people who were like, "Yeah, I guess we'll give them a chance."
Yeah,
Nobody was fully
Dana
on
didn't even
board.
want to until fucking Ronda Rousey came and pretty much forced his hand.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um, but even before that, then Coker was kind of really the first guy to be like, "Yeah, we're all in on them," and built
Right.
actual divisions.
Right.
So
But
if this question,
I don't think that's what Dave is asking. I think that he's
yeah,
asking currently the current
currently,
state
yeah.
of
So
women's MMA, because we're seeing the problem in the UFC specifically where fuck, we don't even have a 145 division. I mean,
yes,
we talk about this all the time. There is no
it's our favorite
145
topic.
division. Basically, um, the best division is strawweight. The best female division is strawweight, and then you get to the flyweights and the bantamweights, and there's not a whole lot. It's not a super um, thick. Thick isn't the right word. It's not um,
Deep.
not a deep. It's not a deep. Um, they're not
Talent pool.
they're not deep, right? And this is what we were saying even last week with the UFC kind of picking from Invicta. They're literally, that's what they're doing. Go back to the Hansen and Frey fight. They literally picked that fight from Invicta. That could have been an Invicta fight, but they picked it.
So it's really interesting. I think that overall, the whole entire spread of the female fighters in MMA, I would say no to currently. I do not think overall that they're spread across too many. But when it comes to certain divisions, yes. So we look at
Right.
strawweight.
I think so too.
We look at strawweight, for example, unanimously the best. I think people will agree right now, especially in the UFC. Especially in the
Hands down.
UFC, there
Right.
there are some people who aren't in the UFC who very well, you throw Kanako Murata in there at some point. I am hoping she's gonna do great things. I don't think anyone beats her outside of it. There's some fighters, but mostly all the best are in the strawweight division. You look at flyweight, for example, not that great in the UFC. And I've always said, mostly before the flyweight division was made in the UFC, that across the world, and I know that you agreed with me too, a little bit at least, flyweight worldwide used to be the best. Like, man,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
We talked.
talent across
That's
the.
exactly what we talked about before our break. We were talking about the flyweights basically. Now it's turned into the strawweights has most of the talent pool. especially
Yeah,
in the UFC. And I think that's what Dave is saying. Matter of fact, he did leave a comment. He
yeah,
said,
I
"Too
saw
many
that.
promotions too soon." Exactly. There isn't enough elite athletes to cover the various promos, and I agree with that 100%. There's a lot of great athletes, of course, that we see in one, in Ryzen. Um, Bellator is really shallow. There's not a whole. They have a really good
They have the
flyweight.
featherweights,
They have a
and then they do
good.
have some pretty solid flyweights. Yes,
They have a good
like
flyweight
Velasquez and
division.
McFarlane,
Right,
obviously
right,
up there.
and then also
Carmouche.
Carmouche and yeah. But as far as the UFC, and I think this is what Dave was talking
Mm,
about specifically. I I do think that there's not a whole lot out there in the UFC, which is a bummer because there's a ton of talent in Asia. I think maybe once they do open the UFC Performance Institute in China, once they
hmm
get that going, we're gonna see a plethora of Asian fighters. I mean, we already have a lot of Chinese fighters, starting with the champion Wiley Zhang. I mean, she's amazing. Um, but I do think that once the PI in China opens up and gets rolling, we're gonna get the UFC is going to get a lot of Asian fighters coming in.
I know. I'm really excited for that. And God, I don't know if I ever told you this, but oh my goodness, this whole virus ruined so many of my plans for this year. I was gonna go right before everything started happening. I was planning a trip back to China and Shanghai as well as
Mhm.
Singapore, and I was gonna do a bunch of interviews. Go talk to like Jingnan in Singapore and a bunch of one people, Misha Tate and everything. And I was
Yep.
gonna get a tour of the Shanghai Performance Institute. But obviously, I didn't get to go. I was so bummed out that I got to miss out on all that shit. God, what a year it's been. But yes, I'm very excited for the Performance Institute and the Contender Series in China or Asia, the one that they're going to do there. Um, so yeah, I think that we covered that question pretty good there. Hopefully, Dave, a very good one. And then the rest of your question though here about the landscape, will it allow for that gap to close? That's kind of tough to say as well, because we're getting more promotions who are kind of more power behind them. If you look at, like I was mentioning, Strike Force, um, it was pretty much just them at the time, and then for a while it was Bellator and UFC who were kind of going back and forth, and then Invicta popped up, but Invicta kind of tied with the UFC now at this point. But then now we have we have Ryzen, some bigger, like the major promotions, right?
Yeah.
And even PFL, even though they're not using the same weight classes. But at a time, they even had Jessica Aguilar in the straw weights.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
there's just more major MMA promotions that are popping up, and I think that is gonna make it harder. Because it's the thing about, you can circle it back to the featherweights, right? If you're not all under one roof, it's gonna look so bad. It's gonna look so much worse than it should be, right? Um, so
And I think and I think that's also a reason why we don't have the atom weight division. I I'm assuming that the UFC has had conversation about opening up the atom weight division. I
they
I
have,
would
yeah.
assume that they would. I mean, why wouldn't they? Um, but they're probably thinking, well, shit, we already have a division, the 145 division, where we don't have a lot of fighters. Would it be the same if we opened up another division, the atomweight division? I would think that it would be. Although there are a lot more smaller weight class women fighters than the higher weight class fighters, I think that the UFC would have a difficult time filling an atomweight division as well.
Yeah, because this is something we've touched on too. Atom weight is kind of turned into, modern day the flyweight of old, where all the talents kind of spread a bit, at least at the
Yeah.
very top and everything,
Yeah.
over in Asia and everything, and Invicta.
Right. They're mostly in Asia. I mean,
Yes,
Invicta has a great atomweight division. Clearly, I mean,
yeah.
that's like their
But
bread and
the
butter.
tippy top though, that's overseas. Like
Right.
no question about it.
Yeah, one hundred
Um,
percent. It's over in Asia.
so the thing about if you want to compare atom weight and featherweight a little bit, with atom weight, I would hope that if they ever, if either them or Bellator, I mean Bellator's already got a step ahead on them. They've had atom weight fights before. That counts for something. Having actually done 105-pound fights. The thing is, though, I would hope that there would be so much planning that goes into it, because if you look at what happened with featherweight, it was pretty much, all right, we got Cyborg now. We just need to get our opponents, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
If you're
Yeah.
gonna do something with a similar-ish division like atomweight, you gotta plan for that. Make sure you can somehow get a hold of the top 20, or from 5 to like 15, a certain number of some of the best. And if you can make sure you can have them to start with, go for it. But do not just be like, okay, we have 3 of them. We'll make 2 fight, and then they can fight the winner, and then they can go in a triangle. Some kind of bullshit like that with featherweight. Do not. I don't know if they would have learned from that yet, considering how things look. But history cannot repeat itself with any more divisions. Okay, please. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and that's honestly that's probably why I know that you keep asking Scott Coker every time that you see him
I'm
about
gonna.
the atom weight division. You're going to keep doing it, and I get why you do it, but I also think that that's why Scott Coker and Bellator haven't opened up an atom weight division yet. They probably look at the talent pool and they're like, "Fuck, where are we going to get enough fighters? Everybody's
Yeah.
already taken by one and Ryzen and."
And they don't want to piss
And
off Ryzen either, who they're friends with.
right, exactly.
So, I mean, they're in a good spot though, because they can work with Ryzen, and
Yeah,
having the American fighters or whoever, like Lindsey Van Zant's obviously the real one we can talk about in that sense, who they've been able to use and be like, hey, we have an atom weight too. You
yeah,
So, yeah, man, it's super interesting. Phenomenal stuff, Dave, and he's not even done yet. We still got more from him.
yeah. Okay, so
So when it
okay,
comes
so the
to
pay. Then there's a matter of pay. Um,
where
on
things get real tricky.
on average, is the pay in the sport equitable from men to women athletes? I don't, to be honest, and I'm very outspoken about this in as pay in general in MMA. I'm very outspoken about that on Twitter. Um, it's complete shit. So this past event, we had 18 fighters on the card, and 11 of them were paid either 12 and 12 or 14 and 14,000 dollars.
Insanity.
11 fighters were paid either 12 and 12 or 14 and 14 of 18 fighters who were on that card. I get that there's no live gate coming in, but they're still banking money. They're still a billion-dollar company, the UFC is. They can pay the fighters. I don't care if it's men or women. They can pay the fighters no matter what. And champions should be paid more than what they're getting paid. Obviously, look at John Jones. He's pissed off right now. He's literally talking about not fighting until 2021 or whatever, vacating his belt because of fucking pay in a big fight against Francis Ngannou, who is a fucking monster. Like, can we really blame John Jones for not just taking his normal pay to go up to a bigger weight class and fight a fucking monster in Francis Ngannou? I don't blame that motherfucker one bit.
Wow, we can't blame him this time.
He's very easy to blame, but he's not. We can't blame him this time. You're right. We cannot do that.
Yeah. So, Yes, obviously, I think it goes without saying if you're somebody with a fucking brain and actually is a fan of the sport, that all fighters are underpaid. I don't care who it is. That was our Steve rant. I think Dave enjoyed that one. Our Steve rant for the episode so far.
There could be more.
But
Let's talk about
there could be,
rankings.
yeah. We'll get to that. I am so happy though that you asked this, my man, because you know, honestly, on average, is the pay in the sport equitable from men to women athletes? I would assume, I would assume no, right? Just from what I've seen, and, how much I know, and comparing it, it's probably pretty similar, but I'm assuming no on average. But the fact that you presented this question to me gave me the idea that I want to find out. So I'm going to put a spoiler alert out here for everybody. I'm going to find this out and do some research and make a story out of this. And hopefully nobody steals it who ends up watching this. But that's my plan here because I want to get to the bottom of this because that's a fantastic question. And I've looked at things in the past before when it comes to equality in MMA, and I think that in terms of um, you know, marketing and kind of push and that kind of thing. I think that there is equality between the men and the women,
I
but
think
behind the scenes, yeah, behind the scenes, the pay, that's a very interesting topic. And yeah, I really want to dive into that now. So thank you, Dave, because I don't have an answer necessarily, but I want to get you one.
right. We don't
And I think
have
the people
we
will.
don't have an exact answer, but I think that Drake and I think that they are paid about equal in the UFC. We don't know about other promotions because they don't put out their financials like the UFC puts out their financials. Which I don't even know why the UFC does because they fucking get eaten alive continuously every week.
That's a great point. Well, I think that most of that stuff comes out from the commissions. Actually, I don't think the UFC's doing it
Right. I think so. Yeah.
because New York doesn't put them out. I think that's the thing. All the New York fights, they don't say what the pay was.
Yeah.
Some state.
I've never really seen Bellators. I've never quite paid attention, I guess. Maybe we should once Bellator starts going again.
Yeah, yeah, they do. Those have been out too. Sometimes it's a very interesting process when it comes to money. Everything's so such a tricky thing, but it's an important thing, a very important thing.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely important. I mean, we don't want the fighters to get screwed. We don't want the fighters to feel screwed, especially.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, there's a lot of fighters talking right now who are actually coming out and being verbal, like Gray Maynard. He's he's very outspoken about this issue right now about anything in general that has to do with financials in MMA. I think Nate Query is another one.
he's been one of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
even Eddie Alvarez.
yeah, Eddie
Some
Alvarez
good
too.
names. It's good to see though. It's important that they're actually saying stuff now. So see where it goes. Hopefully it goes somewhere.
Yep.
You know, but
So Drake will answer your question in written form, hopefully, Dave, at some
yes,
point.
that is the plan. That is the plan, as best as I can.
Okay, so we have, and thank you, Dave, for your questions. Really appreciate that. Um, so we have Drea underscore MMA, my good friend in real life, Andrea. She says super excited for these fights. She's talking about Invicta, the Invicta fights that are coming up on Thursday. Her question is, how do you feel about Chelsea Chandler, who is a Stockton girl, moving up in weight to fight 4-0 Liv Parker in her Invicta debut?
So obviously, we will get to this fight a little bit more, but of course, we can tackle it now. Like we were talking about before we went on air here, I didn't realize, I kind of forgot that Chelsea was at bantamweight
Yeah.
normally. That kind of slipped my mind. I didn't even think about how this was a featherweight fight. Um, well, you know, I guess we can just kind of break this down right now. Essentially, don't need to do it later.
We can do it now.
I didn't think. Yeah, I didn't think that Chelsea Chandler was going to win this fight. I thought it was a pretty rough matchup for her. We've seen her, kind of get out grappled by opponents before, and Liv Parker is a very good grappler and a very big and strong grappler, which does not at all help Chelsea Chandler. On the feet, it's very interesting. She is very, very much a Stockton fighter. Let's put it that way. You can see the comparisons to the Diaz brothers and all that, as we've seen in her fights. This is going to be a tough one for her. I mean, I like it. I don't know who else they would have given Liv Parker necessarily. I mean, it's featherweight, so it's kind of hard. I'm fine with it though. And even knowing it's featherweight now, how about it being made and her moving up and all that. Liv Parker getting her debut in Invicta. Finally, it feels like she should have been fighting for Invicta earlier than this. But yeah, I don't know. I never saw her winning it. Chelsea Chandler, that is.
And I'm exact opposite. I think that Chelsea actually gets it done, and that's not just because she's a stocking girl. Well, maybe it is, but but I'm totally a homer when it comes to Stockton fighters.
Or Carla Esparza.
Or oh my heart. Carlos Esparza. She won her last fight via striking, and I think that's going to be her her way to win this fight as well. Actually, Andrea's husband trains Chelsea Chandler Muay Thai.
Okay.
Yep. So I think that's the way that she's going to get it done is with her stand up, and I think that she gets it done. It's probably going to go to unanimous decision. I don't see her finishing Liv, because she's really strong. Liv Parker is extremely strong and very durable and down to fight. Chelsea Chandler is the same way though, but she is coming up in weight. It's going to be tough for her.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she gets it done.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me a little bit of kind of a less experienced version, comparatively to Frey and Hansen, a little bit, stylistically, and less experience, for both. Yeah. If we were to tone it down a bit, and then make them bigger. So it should be a fun one. I'm definitely looking forward to it. But
right, Chandler's 2-1, and Parker's what 4-0, 5-0.
Yep.
Yep. They're still new to the game, to MMA. A loss wouldn't hurt either of them right now.
It would hurt Parker a lot more, though. I think 38, getting to Invicta.
It's true.
Losing to Chandler, who's coming up, it just wouldn't look as good, obviously. Losing your O, so.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess if she lost her undefeated record, that might hurt her feelings.
I would imagine so.
So thank you, Andrea, for your question. Keep them coming. Keep them coming to us. We really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody. Excellent.
Okay, so we got fight news. Deep Jewels returns with their 29th showing on July 23rd in Tokyo, Japan. They put out some of the best fight posters, as you can see there. Love their fight posters. Just amazing. They really know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to that, and when it comes to fights. I mean, honestly.
Deep Jewels is essentially the Japanese version of Invicta, right?
Right. Yep.
Essentially, it is. That's what it is. So yeah, we don't have to do the whole rundown here. I wanted to mention, because this is last week's news a little bit. But we have Shizuka Sugiyama here in the main event. Obviously a Ryzen veteran,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. I was looking at her record when this news was announced. She's taking on Kana Kagayo, I believe, and Shizuka's only lost to just Kana Watanabe since
Yep.
in the last 5 years or so, and I didn't realize that. I was like, oh damn, she's kind of that's not a bad run to only lose to Kana,
Kind of
who's
slept.
legit as it gets.
People are MMA sleeping on her.
Yeah,
I think
they
it's because
definitely
she's.
are.
I think it's just because of where she is, and that again, that's because of they're in Japan and not in the UFC, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, she's going up to bantamweight for this one, and this is pretty much, it's supposed to be a showcase fight. Deep Jewels, honestly, they like to do a lot of showcase fights because this is Sugiyama, who is the very experienced veteran taking on somebody who's 1-0 in the main event. We know what the outcome will be. I mean, at least we expect it to be. So yeah, that's just something. It's going to be good to see her back. Essentially, everybody back in Japan. Just MMA back in general, because this is going to be the first Deep Jewels event. This event was supposed to happen in March? I think around the time. Yeah, around the time that things were. This is kind of Deep Jewels' version of UFC 249, essentially. Just trying to get it back going. And then also on this card, as you can see from the poster, is the Atomweight GOAT, Ayaka Hamasaki.
Yep.
Not fighting, though. In a tag team grappling match. Very weird. Interesting.
And I think isn't that the main event?
No, Sugiyama and Kagaya is the main event.
Okay.
I'm not sure the placement of this tag team match, but I would imagine that'd have to be like co-main or something.
I honestly thought that was the main event.
Yeah, I mean it's a very interesting one because it's Hamasaki and Mizuki Furuse taking on Tomo Maesawa and Emi Tomomatsu, who are also two top 15, top 20 atomweights in the world. So
it's fun. That's gonna be fun.
Legit atomweight talent. 3 rounds. It said 10 minutes. I don't know if it means 10 minutes overall or 10-minute rounds. But either way, I'm looking forward to that. That's just a lot of craziness.
Yeah.
Just any time to watch Hamasaki, you should not miss it. And then, Maesawa and Tomomatsu also legitimate atomweight, so that's a great team for her to go against. Furuse is just she's just the backup for Hamasaki, if we're going to be honest. So yeah, that is going to be Deep Jewels. Just had to touch on that. Good to see things happening again. That's pretty much the gist there.
Dave, he said kick-ass poster, by the way.
Very much so.
So it got the approval of Dave, which is awesome because he's great
somebody who's the art guy. Yeah,
great at graphics.
Yeah, they do have some killer ones.
Yeah,
even their fucking
every time out.
Their matchup posters, like the ones where it's just the two people on the sides. They even look cool. Japan just knows art. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Rising does it right too.
Oh yeah, they do. That they do.
Okay, so we have Invicta 41, which was announced today. That will be held on July 30th. The main event will be a strawweight fight between Janesha Maranjan and Montserrat Ruiz. Solid fight. Maranjan is fun to watch.
So I'm assuming that Maranjan is not living in Brazil anymore. You would know this.
Yep.
You have the scoop here.
Yeah, no, she's in Florida.
Okay. All right. So I mean, yeah, looking at this card, I think that I like it a little bit more than the card we're getting on Thursday. Honestly, you look at Claire Guthrie's back. She was supposed to be on this one Thursday. I'm assuming it was. I don't remember seeing some kind of issue, maybe an injury or something like that. But then we got Itzel Esquivel's back. Yes, I agree with Dave's comment. Everything looks cooler in Asian characters. It really does help.
Gail Mocker and Blanchfield.
Yes. Yes, Geltmacher and Blanco. That one, I didn't see that coming at all, but I am
That's
really
fine.
interested in that fight because Stephanie Geltmacher is just kind of an in-your-face tank, very strong wrestler. Which I don't know if she's going to want to use her wrestling against Erin Blanchfield. If she, I hope she does though, because that's where it's going to be its most interesting. Seeing things on the mat there. On the feet, that'll be interesting too, because I mean, Blanchfield's striking is developing quickly, dude.
Dude, she's a beast on the feet, man.
I cannot wait for that matchup. That is some great matchmaking right there. It sucks that one of them's going to have to lose. I mean, honestly, Blanchfield should still be undefeated. That Tracy Cortez loss was a good old robbery, as we love to see from Invicta and the Kansas City Athletic Commission, Missouri, Kansas, wherever it'll be. Yeah, that's going to be a really good one. Looking forward to that. Then the main event, it's good to see Janessa back. Ruiz, I'm not complaining about this main event because of the times. Otherwise, I would, because this shouldn't be a main event normally, but there's a lot of factors and everything. All the champions, as we discussed, was it 2 weeks ago or last week?
Yeah,
The champions are mostly out of the country.
Yeah.
But man, Janessa really, 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 really needs to kind of get her shit together here because of the weight issues she's had for
Like really,
the
really?
last so many fights. Really, really did. It's been a little bad. 1-3 has just kind of she's on a skid compared to that hype that she had coming up was looking so promising, and I mean there still is plenty of promise in her and everything, but man, just the lack of discipline issues when it comes to the weight cuts. Gonna be a tough matchup. Gonna be a fun one. It's hard to kind of assess what kind of range will come in right now for me, but either way, yeah, I really like this card. I'm excited to see Invicta is getting back to work, but that co-main event, man, give me all of that. Give me all of that co-main.
I'm excited for Maranjan's return. I think that she's an amazing talent. I like you said, I think this is kind of an easier fight for her. It should be. I mean, shit, it's MMA. Anything can happen in MMA, but it should be an easier fight for her. But honestly, that I'm really excited to see Cynthia Arceo fight.
Yeah, that'll be good too. And I completely skipped over Caitlin Young. What is wrong with me? I skip over the striking Viking.
Skip
How
over.
dare I?
Young.
Caitlin Young is must-see TV always, and she's taken on Latoya Walker, who has not fought since 2016 when she ate that spinning back fist from Charmaine Tweet. If you remember that phenomenal knockout, I'm surprised to see her back, but I'll watch Caitlin Young style on her a bit, to be honest. Caitlin Young should be in the UFC. I would love to see her against like Megan or Felicia, any of them really. She is a top featherweight. I'm even surprised Bellator hasn't taken her, but obviously she has that relationship with Invicta, so it makes you think if she's really. I'm sure she's trying. I mean, she tried to get on the Ultimate Fighter and everything, and they stupidly didn't put her on that season. God,
like,
now I'm upset.
What the fuck is the point of not putting her on? She's one of the best flyweights, featherweights. She would have been one of the ones that stuck there.
I mean, you would hope. You would hope they would have kept her. But yeah, that's another road to go down. But yes, good card from Invicta.
Yep.
This is more daily news, right?
Yeah, more fight news. We have just broke today. Michelle Watterson will be taking on Angela Hill, who will fight fucking every 2 weeks if she could. August 22nd. It's a hell of a fight. I am honestly surprised that they haven't even fought yet, because they've both been around for forever. I'm honestly shocked when I was looking. that they haven't fought yet. It's going to be a good fight, though. Solid
Yeah, I
matchup.
mean, it's funny. It's funny because we talked about this like last week too, or the week before when we were because it was
Yep.
after Tisha won, right? And we were like, oh, I don't know how are things gonna shake out between who and whatnot. And I'm like, hey, maybe Watterson versus Hill could make sense, like just going off kind of. And
Yeah.
here we are. Yeah, I think this is totally fine.
It makes fucking
Because
sense.
yeah, I mean, Watterson is looking to rebound. Hill's looking to rebound, but I mean, Watterson's lost a couple in a row now. I don't. It hasn't been three, I don't think. Right, two. I know it's been two for sure. I don't have her record up at the moment, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's
yeah,
two.
very fun fight, especially standing. Super super interesting matchup stylistically when it comes to the striking on the ground. I mean, Angela has gotten better, but when it comes to submissions and all of that, karate hotties, that's her area that she'll be better at, of course. But yeah, as long as this one's on the feet, it'll be interesting to see how Watterson deals with that, just that pace and speed that Hill is always kind of bringing at you. Because Watterson's kind of very countery lately, very counter oriented with her karate style and the kicks and everything.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how she adjusts to the way that Hill's going to come at her. Like, man, I don't know. That's great matchmaking for sure. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, we had already talked about this prior. It made sense, and finally the UFC actually is making good fights that make complete sense as far as like rankings go. I'm looking at the rankings right now. Michelle Watterson is ranked 8th. She's been ranked 8th for a while now. And then Angela Hill went up this past week from number 14 to number 13. So there's only a few spots in between the two as far as rankings go. This is a really good fight on the feet, and I think that it will stay on the feet. Yeah, it's a fun
If it
fight.
goes down, Watterson will be the one who took it there. If it goes down.
Right.
So.
It's a fun fight.
Very much so. Very much so.
All right, so we didn't talk about this last week when we should have. Maria Agapova versus Shanna Dobson. They will be fighting on that same card as Michelle Watterson and Angela Hill on the August 22nd. This is a good fight too.
Yeah, I mean, Agapova's getting the one that she wanted. This is literally her call out. It's like, all right, we'll give it to
literally
you.
her call out.
Which admittedly a kind of a strange call out just because it's kind of aiming down. No offense to Dobson, but this is a must win for her. I believe she's lost 3 in a row. At least 2, got knocked out in her last fight. She just needs to win, essentially. Let's put it that way. And Agapova, as we know, absolute assassin. I expect vintage Agapova once again. I mean, Dobson can make it interesting, but she's gonna need to avoid the hellfire that will be coming at her for as often as it can. She'll need to close off the distance. That's pretty much what everyone needs to do, is close off the distance against Agapova. Otherwise, they're gonna get shredded for the most part, unless you have some serious skills to match hers in the striking department. I don't think Shanna's quite there. So I'm happy for her getting what she wants, though. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm happy that Agapova is getting what she wants, because she's going to use her fucking hands, and she's going to put Dobson, she's going to send her back to Invicta or to wherever, because, I mean, Agapova is going to put it on her. It's going to be a mauling. This is what Agapova does. And Dobson's just not going to have what it takes. She just isn't.
Hey, anything can happen. just to be devil's advocate.
Yes, anything can happen. I agree. Anything can happen in MMA, but It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So
It ain't gonna
that
happen.
is that one. Oh, here
Okay,
we are.
Invicta 40. Invicta returns uh, this Thursday. In 2 days, we will see live ladies face punching um, with six fights.
6 fights total, yes.
Yep. Emily Ducate and Juliana Lima is the main event, which is a really good fight. I like that fight. You would think that Ducati has to win, though, right?
Uh, well, like she needs it, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, like she needs this win.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's fair to say. I think that that is definitely fair to say. She's coming off of the title loss, which really no shame in that one. It was against Kanako, and she actually put up a much better fight than I expect anybody to against Kanako. As anyone who follows me knows, I'm a big time supporter of Kanako as well as Yan Jiaonan, just to put her name out there as well. Um, yeah, I mean, it's tough. She can't seem to win the title fights. Obviously she's had tough champions in front of her. Liam Lane McFarlane in Bellator, and then Kanako so far at strawweight in Invicta. In her strawweight, was it her debut or her return to strawweight? Her Invicta debut against
Yeah,
Moranjan, who we just talked about. Got a fantastic knockout. Was a very surprising way to win that fight, let alone the win itself. Um, yeah, I guess I would say that she does need this a little bit more than Juliana Lima, just because I mean, Lima's pretty much gatekeeper mode at this point. Just to be brutally honest, I don't really see her going anywhere in the future. Um, she's obviously still a tough out, has plenty of experience, has fought literally, all the best former champions, Carla, Joanna, even Katja Kankapa when she made her first fight in Invicta back in 2013. Brianna Van Buren in the tournament. She's been around, so a
yeah.
little weathered, just been there, done that. I don't know how far she can really go at this point. At Dakota, still trying to prove herself, you know, um, and has not looked bad at strawweight, even despite that loss to Kanako. No shame in that. And I forget that, Dakota is still only 26.
Yeah, she's still young.
Um, yeah, it's kind of surprising because she has, a good amount of fights for that
She's been
much,
around
and
for a long
against
time.
good opponents too.
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. Can't go against her though. I mean, just everything I just prefaced there. um, I think she'll just be faster. She's going to be more powerful. Juliana Lima's never really been a powerful striker. She's got good technique and everything, but I don't know, just doesn't have enough volume or anything to compete. I don't think her grappling will be the area that she'll need to utilize, kind of stifle things to make it just a boring fight where she neutralizes Dakota. Like that's her best path to victory, I would say. Um, but hey, man, Dakota was able to defend
Oh,
a good amount of
well, great.
takedowns from. Am I losing you?
Oh, yep, you went away for a second.
Oh, all right. I'm back though. We're
Yeah,
good. Okay.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I was gonna say, Dakota still showed pretty good takedown defense, against somebody like Murata. Big deal there. So I think she'll be able to stifle whatever takedown threats or whatever that Lima has coming at her. So I'm taking Dakota. I'm not sure how. I'll say decision because we got 3 rounds here. So I'll say unanimous for Dakota.
yeah. I'm going the same. Probably a unanimous decision for Dakota. Like you said, Lima's basically a gatekeeper at this point. Dakota, Dakota has to use her hands, and I think that she will. She'll be better off on the feet, and I think that's the way the fight's going to go.
Yeah, I do too. I think she'll be able to, stuff any of those grappling attempts or whatever it may be. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we will see though. But
Okay,
as
so
for our
this is
co-main event,
this is my main event though, because I think that it should be for the vacant atomweight title. Um, Alicia Zappitella will be taking on Lindsay Van Zant. Um, this is a fire fight. It's going to be
yeah,
really
this
good.
one's gonna be fast-paced. I
Yeah.
think this one is gonna be good, and you know, it's gonna be man. Lindsay is she's a perfectly atom weight. You know, I don't know how much weight she cuts, but she's not big. Is what I'm getting at. But then Zappatella is kind of shorter, so they really physically they equal out pretty well. But when it comes to styles, Zappatella's got that wrestling background, which I think is going to be a big problem for Van Zant for the most part. She's on her back a lot in fights, but she
Yeah.
manages pretty well. She's pretty offensive, whether it's with punching or throwing up submissions and whatnot. But yeah, Zappatella I think was just going to get in her face and do what she needs to do. I think she's probably learned from that patch of losses she had against two opponents that are no joke in Pereira and Kana Sakura. That great rebound win over Kelly D'Angelo, and then taking on Lindsay here, who very solid on the feet, has the length. I think that it's very competitive standing up. I would probably give the power advantage slightly to Zappatella, but I think it's going to come down to if Alicia can put her wrestling into action, and I expect her to be able to. Um,
100%.
yeah, I think it'll be close and back and forth throughout. But I just think that's going to be the X factor and end up getting Zappatella to win. I'm gonna say round 3 submission. I think she'll catch like a rear naked or something in a scramble. I think it's going to be all over the place.
Yeah, I agree. I was going like a round 2 submission. I wouldn't be surprised if it went either in any of the 3 rounds. But I do think that Zappitella will be able to get the submission. Her wrestling is really, really good. It's gonna be hard for Van Zant to stay on her feet against Zappitella. She's gonna be able to get back to her feet. I think she'll be able to scramble out and get back to her feet, but it'll tire her down. And then I think that Zappitella eventually gets the submission, probably second, third round or so.
Gonna be good though. Gonna
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah, and then we talked about this before. The winner of this fight should probably get the title fight against Ashley Cummins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would seem like the logical choice. We'll see what happens. Depending on how beat up either are, what's happening with,
Yeah,
let's assume that Lindsay wins and Bellator comes back by some point, and they maybe, well, I guess maybe they wouldn't want to do something with her again. Who knows? You never know. There's a lot of variables at the moment, but most logical choice would seem to be get Cummins back in that equation. But we'll see.
yeah, I would think so.
We will see.
All right, so Deanna Bennett is back, and she will have a tough fight against Victoria Leonardo. It's a tough fight for Bennett.
Yeah, and I think with Leonardo coming off of, such a she was on the wrong end of a highlight, against Erin Blanchfield in her last fight, which, man, that just to talk about Blanchfield again, that win showed how next level she is becoming, so early on. It's like how legit of a prospect that she really is. Because finishing Leonardo that way, strikes and head kick even, I mean, she landed 2 head kicks, right? There was the one before and then ended up finishing it with the second one. Oh, man,
Right.
what a performance. Crazy to see considering who, Leonardo has fought, in Geltmacher and Maverick. She's fought plenty of people so far. Maverick twice, actually. I forgot about that. And then Deanna Bennett, incredibly experienced for
Tough.
the Invicta flyweights. Very tough, very durable. Just one of those gritty in your face, just going to annoy you kind of fighters. and also, coming off of a recent loss to Maverick in the that was the tournament finals, right? Um, and yeah, this kind of looks on paper like it's supposed to be a rebound for Bennett more so than Leonardo, I think. But I don't know. At the same time, Bennett has been around a lot longer, really put her body through a lot. Um, 35 now, not super old or anything, but in MMA years, I think that she's definitely getting to the end of the road. But she's still been competitive. Like I was saying, she made it to the finals and everything of that tournament, and has hung in there with Karina Rodriguez and Miranda Maverick as well. She has a win over her from before the tournament. That was a rematch that she got redemption in. That Maverick got redemption in. But yeah, man, it's just Deanna's such a tough style to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think that Leonardo, she's very, very scrambly as well. When we've seen her get into positions like against Geltmacher, she's been able to get out of them pretty well, and she's very active, in grappling situations, which she needs to be against somebody like Deanna, who will take her time on getting a takedown. She will do what she has to do to win.
Yeah, she's a workhorse.
Yeah. Just in your face. I think that when it comes to striking, I think Deanna's striking has actually been regressing, over time. So Leonardo should be able to handle her there, but it won't matter if Deanna's in her face the whole time, which I expect that to be the game plan as per usual. So it's tough. It's pretty tough. I think it's going to be very close, but the judges in Kansas, whether it's Missouri or Kansas State, they love Deanna Bennett, so I'm going to have to take Bennett by split decision. Just saying, it's the truth.
Yeah, that's true. The judging in Kansas City is horrible.
I've noticed it is better though in Kansas City, Kansas. The Missouri
Rather
State
than
Athletic Commission
Missouri.
is just dog balls. It's always been awful.
It's unfortunate that Invicta is that's their home.
They need to get out to California more again, man. I'd
Yeah,
love to
they
get to
do.
one of those shows.
Yeah, they do. They need to come out west.
Tachi Palace or something.
Yeah, yes, Tachi Palace. Please, Tachi Palace.
Set it up.
It's fucking only 2 hours away from me, man.
I'd fly out for that all day.
But I do think that Bennett probably wins this fight. Like you said, she's a workhorse. She'll figure out a way. She'll figure out a way. She's been through fucking fights, man. She's been in some dog fights, and she always comes out like fucking smiling and happy, and like those are the type of fights that she likes, and I think she'll get it, but I think she'll actually win this one.
Do you remember the beatdown that she took in that first round against Melinda Fabian and then rallied to win the next two rounds and make it a draw?
Dude, yeah, crazy. Like she
She
came.
was just
We
out.
thought she was done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she arguably should have been. Like, that's how bad she was dazed. It's pretty insane. She was able to make it close after that. I mean, people do think that she should have just flat out lost it. But hey, the fact that she was able to even be competitive after that.
Right.
So that's all you need to know about. Was it vitamin D now? She's not the Argentine assassin anymore. Vitamin D.
She went to Deanna Bennett, and she's still single because she throws that out there every time that she fights and wins.
With some burps and whatnot.
Fucking
She's
hilarious,
dude.
fucking hilarious. She's a character.
No doubt about it.
All right, so we already talked about Chelsea Chandler earlier, and Olivia Parker. Drake is taking Parker to win. I'm taking Chandler to win. This is really the only one that we disagreed on. Yeah. Yep. And then there's two other fights against newcomers.
Mm-hmm. Always good to see.
Yep. Couple 3-3, 2-0, 1-0, and 0-0. That means making their debut.
I heard good things though about both of those strawweights. I do not have enough of an educated opinion about them
Gooden
yet.
and Corin.
Yes, but apparently some good promise with them. So look forward to
Yeah,
that. Just
I
based off
heard
of that,
Gooden is really good.
we will see. We
Yeah,
will see.
yeah, we'll see on Thursday night. So remember, Thursday night, face punching.
Face
Not Friday
punching
night.
on a Thursday.
Not Friday night, which is typically Invicta's night. It's Thursday night.
But we got a holiday weekend, which I keep forgetting about.
It's on Saturday. 4th of July is on Saturday. It's easy to forget these holidays during these times.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. But
I do want to say one thing, though. There's a lot of talk about who's going to be on the UFC 4 cover, and I think it should be Amanda Nunes. Um, she deserves the respect of the MMA community. She deserves to be on that fucking cover. And she's a dual belt holder. She's beaten everybody. Ronda Rousey, Shevchenko, Cyborg. It don't matter who the UFC throws at her. She keeps on winning. She's the best female fighter ever, hands down. The best. She needs her fucking respect. Put her on that cover. Please, EA Sports, UFC, put her on that fucking cover. Yes, Dave, I saw that you did the Amanda Nunes cover. I'm not saying that because I like your cover. I'm saying that because I think that Amanda Nunes deserves to be on the cover. And what do you think, Trey? Do you even care who's on the cover of UFC 4?
I do actually care because I was really annoyed when they put Connor on the last one. So I think Nunes is a fantastic choice to put on there. I mean, why not? She's the most dominant fighter in the sport right now, right? Is that fair to say? I mean,
and
Habib obviously
both men and women fighters. She's
2 divisions.
Yeah. Now that Henderson Cejudo's gone.
Yeah, just absolutely killing it. And that would be, well, I guess I was gonna say it'd be cool to see a female fighter get on there, but I guess Ronda was on with
Connor.
She was on with Connor.
Was it with John Jones or was it with Connor? Maybe it was with John Jones.
They had Jones and Gustafson on the first one, I think. And then I think it was Ronda and Connor after that, and then just Connor. And then they had the special DJ edition, which that was nice of them, but he should have been on it just by himself for the regular edition, probably. Yeah, man, I'm totally fine with that for sure. I think that, let's see, what they're announcing it at 251, right? This next one. So it's not gonna be Usman. That would be an absolute wild card. I'm trying to think, like, why would they do it there? Well, because the game's gonna be coming out whenever it does, here in a couple months or whatever. I feel like it's probably gonna be Habib, though. Honestly, it's probably Habib or Nunes, I would think.
Ali Abdulaziz did say that.
He said something about it.
Yeah, that he knows who's on the cover, and that. What did he say? He said that it was 2 people, and one of them he agreed with, the other one he didn't think deserved to be, which was presumably Jorge Masvidal.
Okay. That's interesting. So then you would then think it's obviously one of his guys. Habib and Masvidal, maybe? I don't know. I have no idea.
He said that he doesn't think that it's not Habib.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I have no idea, but yes, I do agree with the Nunes suggestion. We'll see. We will see.
It needs to happen.
We
It
will
fucking
see.
needs to happen. Just put her on the cover solo. Don't just give her the respect that she deserves, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do we want her cursed though? If you think about the EA cover curse, do we want that to happen? Maybe, because then we could see Aldana hoist the title high for Mexico. That would be cool.
That would be fucking awesome.
If I want to see some history, and Aldana's such an amazing person.
Mhm.
I
That would be
really
pretty
like
awesome if
Aldana.
Aldana beat Nunes, but I don't think she
Gosh.
will, and I think that Amanda Nunes deserves it. So yes, I want to see her on the cover.
We can have both. We can have both of those things. They go hand in hand.
So maybe we will see Jorge Masvidal and Amanda Nunes on the cover together.
Well, teammates too.
Yep.
So just have to wait.
Yeah, so we'll find out in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks now. A week and a half. Our fights the following weekend, which is a huge card. Fight Island, baby.
Coming at you.
What a fucking joke that is, too.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up.
Spend
We're
all that
going
money on
overtime.
Fight Island, but you can't pay your fighters.
Yeah, Bash at the Beach 2020.
Fucking hilarious. Okay, so thank you very much to Dave Fretz, Andrea, Keyboard Warriors, which is Eddie Law. Thank you for coming in. And he did say, man, they should use Nunes to promote the hell out of WMMA. Nunes, Wiley, JJ, which is Joanna, and Watterson. Obviously, yeah, but the fucking UFC doesn't do shit to promote shit anymore. They promote who they want to promote, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, Dana's not even promoting the sport as a career opportunity anymore, or as a
Right,
career,
it's not.
I should say.
Yeah, it's not a career apparently either. Fighting is not a career, so go get a second job.
It is what it is.
Thank you so much for coming in and joining us. Until next Tuesday, appreciate y'all. Stay safe.
Peace.